Two police officers are under investigation for the unauthorized surveillance of a former cabinet minister. It happened back in 2017 when NDP MLA Shannon Phillips was Minister of Environment. Two veteran members of the Lethbridge Police Force were against her plans to increase environmental protection in the area. They took pictures of the minister holding a meeting at a local diner and unlawfully ran the plates of one person she was with. Photos were later posted of the meeting on a Facebook group that was critical of Phillips and her government. The two officers have been temporarily demoted for 1 and 2 years, respectively. That was all first reported by Chat News in Lethbridge. Now, Alberta's police watchdog is investigating whether their actions were criminal. For more on the incident, we have reached NDP MLA Shannon Phillips in Lethbridge. Hi, Ms. Phillips. Good to see you again.
Well, thank you for having me. I just want to make sure that the right credit goes. It was Chat News in Medicine Hat.
Medicine Hat. My apologies. That's my fault. I actually added that line in because I wanted to give them credit because they had an exclusive. That's where I first read all about this. My apologies. That's entirely my error. In Medicine, I should know better, having worked in Alberta. My bad. I read that story, and I've got to tell you, my jaw dropped. I don't know if I should be more cynical and have expected something like that. My understanding is, based on your press conference that you held earlier, that you didn't know the full extent of what had gone on either. What was your reaction when you did learn how the extent of this?
Well, as has been reported, I did lodge a complaint in 2017. And to my mind, once I received that report and there was some disciplinary action taken, I received the report in 2018. I had considered the matter closed until yesterday at noon, when or about midday, when I learned about the exclusive that came out of our friends in Medicine Hat. Some really good reporting there and a value of local journalism there. In fact, there had been a subsequent hearing that I had no knowledge of, in which it had been found that these officers had illegally surveilled me, and there had been an illegal access of records for one individual as well. So, I was surprised. Vashi, because I think it's important for us all to realize just the exceptionalism of what happened here, the egregious abuse of power that happened. But at the same time, I wasn't all that surprised because I had already had some interaction with some elements of the Lethbridge Police Service that were not positive. In stark contrast to how I'd been treated by the chief and others. And, I think it's fair to say that I was not entirely surprised that such an egregious action had been taken, given the level of vitriol that had been leveled at me and the sense that there was sort of a permission to do this and to treat elected officials in this way.
So the vitriol was originally leveled on Facebook. Is that correct? That's what you had initially been made aware of, and you filed a complaint on that. Is that accurate?
Well, yes, but the complaint centered around surreptitious photos being taken of me by uniformed police officers, and a reasonable person would conclude that if I'm being photographed in a public place by uniformed police officers, that I'm somehow under investigation, and that was what I filed the complaint for.
Oh, so you knew that had happened, but you didn't know that. I see things going on there. It's okay, don't worry. But you didn't know that that all the sort of the additional surveillance had taken place.
That's right. I had no knowledge of that until yesterday.
Okay, so that then leads me to some of the reaction today, because the Premier and the Justice Minister have said that they are going to get ACER to investigate it. The punishment that was leveled against these two individuals was 1 and 2 years, as we said, of a demotion. What was your initial reaction to that?
Well, that is not enough. And it's not just about me, and it's not about my reaction to this, but certainly the community has said the same thing, that the community's reaction is, how do I know that I'm safe? I met with my MLA. Am I being tailed? I am a progressive politician. Am I next? That's where this isn't about me. This is about the community's overall feeling of safety and the public trust in our Lethbridge Police Service. And so that's why it is troubling that the sanction does not appear to be proportionate to the tremendous abuse of power that we saw with this. And it seems to me that what we want to do here is restore that public trust. And so that's why we need a full investigation that is led by an outside special prosecutor. And that's what I've been calling on from the Justice Minister. And he's taken some action, but not quite. What I think we need to see for this community to feel safe again.
So let me actually follow up on that, because I wanted to know if you thought that the ACERT investigation is adequate. What measures specifically would you like to see taken in that vein?
I think it's clear that the Justice Minister and Premier Kenney have said the right things, and now we just need to make sure we get it over the line to do the right things. And so ACERT is fine, but what we need to make sure is that there is a special prosecutor from out of province that is appointed to oversee this investigation. We have already seen 2 instances, the investigation that was done in response to my complaint and the subsequent hearing, that it can be partial and inadequate when police officers are investigating themselves.
Have you had, oh, sorry, pardon me, go ahead.
So that's why we need that outside special prosecutor, and that's what the government hasn't committed to yet, and that's the piece that I want to see resolved.
I think I saw a tweet from the minister saying that they were willing to avail themselves of that option, but I don't think they said for certain that they would. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's my understanding based on the tweet that I read.
We said that there was a possibility that ACERT could act or could be requested, not that they would oversee the investigation. There's a crucial difference there.
I guess I wanted to ask you, obviously I follow Alberta politics. I think that we were just watching President Trump. There is a big discussion that's been going on for a number of years about the level of anger and I guess, the divisions and the divisiveness that exists right now. And I wonder what, I know it's only been a day, but what you think this says about that in this country.
Well, there's no question that there was a certain permission structure created by the online vitriol, the sort of far-right machine that really ginned people up in and around some of the decisions taken when we were in government. But this isn't necessarily about me, and this is about community safety. And when you have that happening, regardless of your political views, you need to make sure that you do not have this egregious abuse of power be in any way, shape, or form normalized and not appropriately sanctioned. And that is what is at issue here. And that's why my community has been, reaching out to me in droves over the last 24 hours. And that's the piece that the Lethbridge Police Service and the subsequent investigations and so on need to fix. It is on them to repair this public trust that has been broken. There's no question that there's a broader conversation here about polarization in politics, what has happened with the importation of some of these really aggressive far-right tactics that have come to Alberta and elsewhere. There's no question we need to have a cultural conversation, I think, too, about what people feel like they have permission to do and say to women in positions of elected authority or other positions of authority, or just in the workplace in general. But right now, what is in front of us is a question of how much and how we are going to repair that public trust with my community. And that's my focus, is safety here.
Sorry, I was just going to ask, in that vein, have the police or anyone from the police reached out to you?
I certainly talked to the Lethbridge Police Chief this morning, and they subsequently released a statement indicating that they felt that the sanction was appropriate for these 2 officers. I certainly disagree with their statement in that respect, and I said so privately, and I'll say so publicly. And that's why we need that outside investigation, because there too we see the limitations of police officers investigating police officers, and I don't think that we can tolerate this level of sanction, a mere demotion, for the kind of abuse of power that we saw these 2 officers undertake. It was political intimidation. It was the stuff of police states. It is certainly, it's just not something that we tolerate in a free society.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I'm out of time. Thank you very much for your time, Ms. Phillips. Good to have you back on the program.
Thank you very much.
Hi. Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.